Optimus Prime. If you don't know who it is, stop this video immediately, go watch all 3 seasons of the Transformers Generation 1 on Netflix, then go and buy the DVDs and watch the Headmasters, Master Force, and Victory. Then come back to this video and disregard all that knowledge since this isn't that Optimus Prime. This is in fact the Optimus Prime from the Michael Bay movies, specifically the first 3, as he changed his look for Age of Extinction. So yeah, folks, it's time to get some Prime on our hands. Recognized by Takara Tomy as a Kenworth Double 900, despite the fact it's actually a Peterbilt truck, Optimus transforms into a semi-truck cab. And I gotta say, it looks badass, despite the fact it has that very controversial, mostly blue paint scheme. But according to Michael Bay, the filmed better than an all-red truck. So I guess we gotta trust the Bayman on this one. In all, Optimus's truck mode is very finely detailed. He has all those little tiny intricacies that you would actually see on an actual semi-truck. A door into the actual cab section, toolboxes, nice big fuel tanks, smokestacks, which are quite long, but of course are made out of rubbery plastic for safety reasons. Has these side things, I actually don't know what the heck they do, because... okay. The only thing taken away from the truck mode is the fact you can see some gears inside of the windows. That's because it's part of the whole Revenge of the Fallen line-wide gimmick, the Mecha Live gimmick, meaning you see actual gears and such moving while you transform or initiate gimmicks. The whole gimmick was really quite stupid, and I'm very glad that they kind of ditched it immediately. Although, admittedly, the MechTech gimmick we got with Dark of the Moon wasn't any better. Size-wise, Optimus is quite a large leader. I mean, holding him with both hands, he barely fits in frame. He is very large and quite cool. Unfortunately, this also means Optimus has an extremely complex transformation process. So complex that I'm not going to bother showing it just because it takes so long. Anyway, speaking of... and thus we have Optimus Prime in robot mode about 15 minutes later. I wasn't kidding when I said it was needlessly complex. Though you do get it done eventually, Optimus actually does look quite stunning. The detailing on his head is quite spectacular, even with his battle face mount plate down. Now, later reissues of this same mold would actually have versions of the head with the mouth plate up, so you can actually see Prime's mouth. Though ultimately, I think having it down is great. It's his classic look, plus it's the most striking. Now, this design of Prime is much sleeker than the 2007 Leader Class toy, as well as the fact there's no real fake kibble. Every bit of the truck you see is either folded up or otherwise is incorporated into robot mode, with varying degrees of success, but overall it's actually quite nice and a fresh change from later lines, which would resort to fake kibble quite often. Prime has nice wide feet, meaning he can support a wide variety of positions, especially helped by the fact that he actually has a ball-jointed ankle, which is spectacular. Articulation-wise, Leader Class Prime is both great and bad. He does have a very tight head rotation, though it's blocked by the 2 shoulder window pieces, unfortunately. He does have a ratcheted shoulder, which is great, which can also move around a bit on its own, which is good. Of course, he has a ratcheted elbow, which is hindered by a gimmick I will get into in a little bit. No real waist joint articulation, which is unfortunate. Down below, of course, we have ratcheted hip joint, ratcheted knee joint. Can actually go quite far back, and the hip joint too is pretty good. And the aforementioned ball-jointed ankle, which is great as always. Well, as for that obtrusive gimmick I talked about that hinders elbow articulation, while pressing these small gray buttons on Prime's forearms, we'll whip out battle blades on either arm. Voila. Now these are kind of impressive as he does have built-in weapons. And the unfortunate part is they are, once again, very intrusive, and most people just hate these things in general. In fact, there are tutorials out there for you to remove these. In fact, a later release would actually replace these with battle hooks, or indeed just remove them at all. So, they're nice to have, but intrusive. But it's not an Optimus Prime toy, some kind of electronic gimmick, folks. By folding down his pectoral here, and pressing down, you get... that's right, folks, he says in Peter Cullen's voice, "I am Optimus Prime." And that is literally all he says. "I am Optimus Prime." Unless you're unlucky enough to get one of those European or British versions that just says Optimus Prime, which kind of sucks. Could use more phrases, but you know, it's a nifty little gimmick. So it's the final verdict on Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime. Well, this Prime is just striking in both modes. The truck mode is dead on. It just looks spectacular, and it's fairly large. And Prime's robot mode is sleeker, and not to mention far more movie accurate, plus pretty badass looking. Unfortunately, he does feature an intrusive gimmick that does hinder his elbow articulation unless the blades are extended, which is both kind of cool that he has a built-in weapon, but it's also kind of a letdown, which is why I'm not surprised that the blades were retooled out of future releases. But in the end, if you can get one of these guys for a decent price, and good luck to you on that, I would very highly recommend him. Tune in next time when we go further down the Transformer hole. See ya.